A new Wordle puzzle is online. Click on the link to play.
Listening to the following video may give you clues. Please like and share the videos.
The BBC's license fee faces the scrap from 2028 as Tories' suggestion it should be restructured. The government's proposed review of the license fee funding model aims to make the BBC a leaner and simpler organisation and offer better value for license fee payers.
Friend of the House has said the freeze will help hard-working families. However, he has questioned the date the decision was made.
The Secretary of State has said the decision was reached after Cabinet discussed it. Tories propose review of license fee funding model.
A new government plan is set to review the license fee funding model, and the BBC itself has said the move is disappointing. Nadine Dorries, the Minister for Culture, Media and Sport, announced the move in the Commons on Thursday.
She claimed that it is time to question whether a compulsory license fee is still necessary. She also argued that the license fee was penalizing vulnerable groups, and a subscription model would force the BBC to serve all those who wish to watch it.
Earlier this year, the government had warned against any increase, and it was the government that had been pushing for the reform. Ministers from both parties have defended the government's decision.
The government says that the license fee is essential for local services, and the Conservatives want to remove it from local authorities' budgets. They claim that the change will improve the service and give local councils a bigger slice of the budget.
Despite the government's pledge to review the license fee funding model, the BBC is not obligated to adopt the plan. However, it may choose to adopt the review's policy.
The committee will include David Graham, Jeff Metzger, and Julie Kirkbride. The panel's recommendations could mean that the BBC cuts up to 30% of its funding.
But it's unlikely to be that far off. The consultation paper has outlined a new funding model for the BBC.
In the UK, the license fee is responsible for more than half of all television viewing. However, the BBC's audience reach is still less than 50%, and that number could fall as low as 2 hours a decade.
Therefore, the Tories' plan to review the license fee funding model will not be without controversy. It is essential to remember that the UK's government is largely funded by license fees, and any changes could affect its funding model.
The BBC's future funding has been negotiated with the government, but we are still a few years away from the final settlement. In the meantime, Dorries' tweet suggests the fee would remain at PS 159 for 2 years.
Considering the cost of living crisis, this would represent a real terms cut of hundreds of millions of pounds. Meanwhile, the BBC is under pressure both financially and creatively from streaming giants and will need the public to support its future.
BBC must be simpler, leaner organisation. The BBC has announced that it is to make job cuts of up to 1,000 people to cut PS 1.5 billion a year.
The BBC says it has to make these cuts because the license fee has been frozen for 7 years, with more viewers turning to free services. The BBC will also press the government to restructure the license fee to make it simpler and leaner.
The BBC has already begun reducing the number of layers of management. It is also looking at reorganisation of the HR, marketing and finance departments.
Tim Davie, the new BBC Director General, has made a statement threatening to cut the number of roles at the corporation. He has warned that partisan campaigning on air would endanger its reputation.
He also warned staff against pursuing political careers. These words will ring true for left-wing comedians.
But Davie has said that the BBC must be simpler, leaner organisation to remain relevant to millions of people. New Director General of the BBC, Tim Davie, has outlined a number of initiatives to improve the quality of news broadcasting and make the corporation more commercial.
He has a background in the private sector, and aims to increase the BBC's commercial income through promoting online services. He also wants to make the BBC more inclusive and diverse, and he is determined to make it so.
Funding the BBC must be cut to a more realistic level, and the government has indicated that it will continue to fund the BBC by hypothecated tax. The BBC has several services and commissions a significant portion of Britain's output each year.
However, the license fee is unpopular with the public, with 60% of the population wanting it scrapped. In fact, many people resent paying for a service they value so much.
However, some people have questioned the decision to censor its news coverage, citing its left-wing bias and a lack of objectivity. In particular, this has affected the coverage of the Covid Party scandal, and it has led to complaints from many Tories.
This comes as no surprise, as the BBC's coverage of this scandal has been harshly criticised by many Conservative MPs. BBC must offer better value for licence fee payers.
BBC users demand more from the broadcaster than mere content and a better service. The committee is urging the BBC to make changes to its services and to tailor its output to its strengths and avoid wandering into areas where it has no business.
The findings of the inquiry are a testament to the important role of the BBC in British life. Moreover, it has recommended a radical modernisation of the licence fee.
The BBC must provide better value to licence fee payers if it wants to survive. This was the conclusion of Michael Lyons' open letter to licence fee payers, published on 9 September.
However, it has faced criticism over the BBC's alleged bias. In response, the government has pledged to double the commercial arms borrowing limit and invest more in the creative industries.
In order to offer better value to licence fee payers, the BBC must focus on its originality and creativity. For example, it should focus on importing more foreign and original programs, rather than relying on market-driven and formulaic solutions.
The BBC must also improve the quality of its popular programming and focus on a wider range of genres. It must remember its public service broadcasting role, but it should always aim to deliver quality.
The BBC must provide better value for licence fee payer-funded content if it wants to retain licence fee payers. The BBC must address the issues of groupthink and bias that have affected its credibility and relevance.
The BBC's failure to provide the same impartiality and content that it promises to licence fee payers will affect the credibility of the broadcaster. If the BBC fails to meet these standards, it will have to deal with these problems or risk losing the licence fee of the nation.
In the meantime, the Conservative government's intention to reform the BBC has been long-standing. However, the recent pay row for senior managers and individual artists points to a failing to grasp the concept of a public service broadcaster.
A public service broadcaster, the BBC should be able to engage its audience and command the support of the whole UK. So, what are the problems facing the BBC?
Friends says licence fee freeze will help hard-working, struggling families. A new government report has warned that the rise in national insurance contributions and energy prices could be seismic.
The Liberal Party's Caroline Fairburn has called for a debate on the licence fee and said this is the last announcement on the matter. But it is not clear what the alternatives are or when the freeze will be implemented.
As part of Operation Red Meat, the Culture Secretary gave details of his negotiations with the BBC to a Sunday newspaper. Funding is guaranteed until 2027, but after that the Royal Charter expires and the mission, public purpose, and funding method will be decided by the government of the day.
The licence fee may be frozen until then but will continue to rise in line with inflation for another 4 years. If the government freezes the fee, then it may mean more cuts to public services, as they did in the last government.